name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says,
oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous. But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Hello to every single mother who's listening to us today. We want to welcome you to the Channelmom Show. This is your show where we celebrate you as a mom. We really want to help you out in what you do as a mother, which is so important. My name is Jenny Dean Schmidt, your host, and a mom myself. We are here just to honor and love on the moms. We really want to meet moms where they're at so that we can remind them of how important their job is and to equip them to do it even better. Coming up, we actually have a guest who really and truly has some amazing tips to make your life as a mother easier and better. Carol Ladd is one of those inspirational, motivational people that you just cannot get enough of. She's got a new book that addresses one need that just about every mom I know has. So I urge you to stay tuned for Carol and get ready to call her with some of your toughest mothering questions today. You can call us at 303-297-1510. And please do, because Carol is just, she's about one of the wisest women I know, and she could really answer some of your questions and address some of your struggles, especially the ones that have to do with attitude. But first today, my commentary. Today I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to admit something live on the air, and it's not going to come from a finely tuned, previously written script. So here it goes. Yesterday, Shelly's our videographer and one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and she's here today videotaping us. So are you ready for my admission?
Should I have videoed yesterday?
No, absolutely not. That would not have made it onto channelmom.com. I had a meltdown with my precious son. No, I was not one of those women that really struggled with toddlerhood and hated being up at night and just lost it in the grocery store. I just wasn't. 0 to 4 was a breeze to me. I didn't get upset. I didn't get irritated. Truly, I'm not exaggerating. I really liked those young years, those young toddler years. Preteen and teen, I will not get the blue ribbon for my ability to handle that.
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm about to admit this. Yeah, so I went off, my son is almost 13, so I feel okay about leaving, him in the house with his sister for half an hour, 45 minutes. So I ran out to do an exercise class. I only did half of the class because I was trying to be conscientious and get back. It was Jazzercise, actually, one of our sponsors. I went to one of their classes. I got back, opened the downstairs patio door, greeted by my crying daughter. Tears streaming down her face, very upset about what her brother had done to her, walk upstairs, begin to interrogate the brother. But then, and I think most moms who have preteens or teenagers have been through this, then the beginning of the, I'm unfair, I don't understand, I always blame him, I never let him do anything, I'm not kind, I put him down to me, all that stuff. Well, so your pride rises up because you're like, how dare you criticize me as a mother? I'm doing my best. Well, so I began to yell. To the point where we had to close the door.
Oh. And any neighbors call?
Well, I do not take pride in yelling, by the way, and I don't do it a lot, even though my son says, you do this all the time. I'm like, no, I really don't. Because I try to monitor it. I don't want to be a yeller. So I'm not one of those people that you see screaming in the grocery store. So I don't yell a lot, but this time I just lost it but because of the way in which he was putting me down. And the whole neighborhood got to hear me doing it yesterday until I shut the door. And you know what? I'm admitting this because I want other moms to know that I'm a real mom, and I get it. And so I get what their struggles are. I get how they beat themselves up. I get when they feel like a failure. I get that because that's how I felt yesterday, right afterwards. And apologies were said, and my son forgave me, and I forgave him for putting me down. But, by the way, I want to mention this. Pride. When pride rises up, it is true. It is true what Scripture says. Pride goes before a fall, because boy, did I fall.
So you were yelling because you were prideful of your parenting?
Yeah. And he was putting it down and telling me all the ways in which I was failing him and failing to be fair and kind and right and good. And, of course, I've been working my booty off all summer to make him happy and take him to a million places and vacations. And and you can have this ice cream and you can do this and a sleepover and let's have a party and, and then
And all that's forgotten in one moment.
Yeah. So that, my pride rose up in that. But I also think pride does something to us as mothers. And I think it keeps us from improving sometimes because we stand our ground and how dare you? And you know what I mean? It keeps us from sharing with each other because we kind of don't want other mothers to know how we're not doing so well.
Or we feel like we're failing as a mother. We don't want others to know.
Yeah, like a lot of moms wouldn't just come out and announce that they had a yelling session yesterday. No, I didn't throw anything. I didn't get violent. I was just yelling, which wasn't okay. So I think that pride keeps us apart sometimes as mothers, and it also prevents us from improving with our children. Because we just rise up and we say, how dare you, and I'm great, and I've done this, and I've done this, and don't you understand what I've done and what I've sacrificed? And sometimes you just have to say, all right, and back down. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I don't think it's pride so much. It's more as a hurried lifestyle.
Yes, and I'm sure that's part of what was stressing me out yesterday. I was preparing for the show and doing about 60 million other things. My daughter was in drama camp, and we had to go,
Right.
we had to do a million other things. Like my daughter needs to be in drama camp, by the way.
She needs to, fine tune those techniques.
Yeah, she's camped on drama pretty much. So, all right. So this is my way of sharing with all of you that I know firsthand what the struggles of mothering are and how sometimes we all feel like a failure at it. But that's why we are here. We want to start a movement here on the Channel Mom Show. It's called a mom movement and a mom revolution. And it's something that moms can be a part of where we help each other out and cheer each other on. And nobody may say this, but we literally hold the future of the world in our hands, by the grace of God, by the way. Raising the next generation that will occupy this planet is a great and hard thing. God help us all. So please know that I understand you, and I want to give you some support, advice, information, coaching, encouragement, love, all of it, that will make your life as a mother better. So let's do this together. Tell your friends, call us, tell us what you want to hear on the show. Call our guests, post on our Facebook page so we can know what's on your mind and we can help you out because we can get the experts that can answer some of your deepest, darkest questions. Because if we don't do this for ourselves, nobody else will. When's the last time someone's walked in the house? What can I do for you, Mom? Doesn't happen a lot. Do you know that I've talked about this before, but that most companies aim to get the money that moms spend, but that's where it ends. They'll aim their TV ads and their radio commercials at moms, and they will not give moms much more than that. It stops there. They want the money, but they don't necessarily want to nurture you in return. They won't even commit to doing shows like this. Now, we've got some wonderful sponsors. Love them. So grateful for them. They're fabulous. But a lot of, they don't necessarily want to say, oh, let's put on a show for mothers. So let's change that by showing them what we will do a show, that we will do a show for ourselves. Because our job matters more than most of the others on the planet, by the way. Our job is super important. What happens if moms just stop? Done. Stop. Over. Well, it'll be taken over like Lord of the Flies. It'll be out of control.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. So whether you're a Christian or not, this is my final point. Just about everybody believes that Jesus was a great man, right? Just about everybody.
Just about.
Well, who do you think raised him? A mother named Mary. Truly. Yeah. Well, girlfriend, that is how important your job is. Because we honor Mary for raising Jesus. So please remember that as you're raising your children. Alrighty, now it's time for the news.
If you're tired of the same old news,
What more do you want?
I want the truth.
You're hearing it. Strap yourselves in, folks.
never fear.
What's the dealio?
Part of life is learning to let things go.
We've got news moms can use.
What was that name again? I missed that.
News moms can use.
In the news this week, we've got the latest stories, and we pick them based on what we think moms want or need to hear. Today, we're going to look at a growing relationship trend called stayovers. I don't know how new it is, by the way. Also, new research showing a higher divorce rate among couples who do not have children. Finally, we'll ask what you think about a growing trend toward child-free businesses. But first, I want to do a recall, Shell, and I just have little notes scratched on it. If you haven't heard this, Cargill has recalled millions of pounds of ground turkey after one person died. 78 took ill. I believe around 78 took ill in 26 states. Now, this dates back to March. So some people have kind of questioned why Cargill would take so long to do this recall.
Well, I think they couldn't find the source. They didn't know the source of the salmonella.
Maybe, and that's good. Thank you for defending Cargill. But just so you know, I mean, this affects us locally, I believe, because it's in Kroger brand ground turkey, sold in King Soopers and Safeways and the honeysuckle white brand. Now, I don't know that they found it in Colorado. I did not see Colorado necessarily on that list of 26. Kyle, can you look that up for us so we can tell them later if Colorado was in that?
I think it was anything in a sell-by date.
Okay.
There was a certain sell-by date.
Okay. All right. Well, so just be careful if you got some frozen turkey in your fridge, and get rid of it. Probably if it's made by this company. All righty. Here we go. Recently, the celebrity couple Olivia Wilde and Tao Raspoli, celebrity, didn't know,
never heard of them.
They split up, and that is sad. Notably, after being married for 8 years, the couple walked away from their relationship childless. But being childless might have led to their divorce, according to new research. In her column for the HuffPost, Vicki Larson says child-free couples divorce more often than couples who have at least one child. This divorce trend was discovered way back in the 50s when the divorce rate for couples with no children was almost double the rate for families with children. And by the way, it went up. Like if you had 10 children, you were even less likely to get divorced. Isn't that interesting? And today that trend continues more or less. One study showed that 66% of those who divorce are childless, compared with 40% who have kids. So that's another argument for being a mom. Everybody who's listening to me that's a mom today. Well, evidently the absence of children leads to, quote, loneliness and weariness. Of course, there are many happily married, child-free couples. I want to admit that. In fact, one organization even wants to celebrate that fact by setting aside a day called Non-Parents Day. A day to celebrate. I shouldn't laugh at that, but it is kind of funny that they have to set aside a day for that. On the flip side, though, some research does suggest that marital happiness plummets in the first year or two after the birth of a child. And for some couples with children, marital contentment never returns.
I would have to say, though, eventually you're going to be a childless marriage.
Yeah. But
it's going to happen.
But I think they're saying you literally have never had children with that person. That's what they're talking about. But so you're not really childless after they leave the house.
No.
Yeah.
But the marriage, I mean, I wonder how many divorces there are after the children leave the house in that same...
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question, Sean.
Stat.
Yeah, it's a good question. All right, I'm going to get to one more news story, and then I may save one for after the break, because we have Carol for all day today, which is really fun. And evidently, there is a new dating trend for young American couples, revealing a preference for short-term commitment versus long-term. These couples prefer to engage in stayovers. A stayover relationship is one in which dating couples spend 3 or more nights weekly together in the same place, while opting to spend the remaining nights of the week in their own homes. Didn't know they had a definition for that, but apparently they do.
That happened a lot in college.
Yeah, I did. I was like, this isn't really new. Stayover relationships are said to provide an easy out if the relationship deteriorates. Not only that, but the stayover approach allows each partner freedom from the, quote, entanglements of living together or getting married. The stayover trend was discovered in a new study from the University of Missouri at Columbia. By the way, recent U.S. Census data indicates people are getting married later, and I also think marriage is less popular than ever before. Actually, I just find this whole story really sad. Is that okay for me to find it sad? I'm just not sure it's the healthiest way to approach our relationships. Like,
I think there's still an emotional entanglement that goes on there that they're not talking about.
Yeah, true. You are listening to the Channel Mom Show, where we are celebrating you on Mile High Sports AM 1510 FM 93.7. We want you to call in today to our guest, who's very, very good. You're about to see 297-1510, 307-297-1510. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt, and coming up, we've got a mom who can help you in a big way. This woman is one of the best motivators I know, and she's got a new book about living confidently as a woman. Author Carol Ladd up next.